Hi guys, how are you? Jennifer Rock here reporting for Boots Insider. So I have happened to get my hands onto hand and foot products over the last few weeks. So that's not an excuse to turn off now because you think, oh god, yawn, I absolutely know what hand and foot creams are supposed to do. You're right, most hand and foot creams on the market will just hydrate. However, I want to tell you a little bit more about what we deserve and should expect from a really good results driven hand and foot product. So I have three. So the first two that I'm going to talk about are Softening Foot Balm and number 7 Revitalising Hand Saviour. They kind of do what they say they're supposed to do. So foot balm, as you imagine, is going to be very nourishing, fantastic to put on straight after the shower, brilliant when our feet have perhaps been hiding in boots and so on over the winter period. Perhaps you're preparing to go to the sun, we really start to think about our feet then. That's this little guy. Pop them on at night with socks and it really locks in the moisture. The Revitalising Hand Saviour it's almost like a 2-in-1 if I'm being honest. You take out a tiny little bit when your hands are wet and it acts like an exfoliator, which is quite a hydrating exfoliator. Your skin literally feels when you've used it that it has been moisturised without having to put a moisturiser on as such. Would I use this every day? No. I personally, those of you may know, I don't advocate using an exfoliator every day simply because, well, our skin isn't supposed to be exposed underneath. So when you're exfoliating, you take layers away that aren't designed to be, and ultimately that leaves you more prone to light damage, to skin health problems in that particular area. So it's great for maybe once or twice a month to really kind of take off the dead skin cells. It's great for removing any false tan. You don't have to keep it specifically for the hands. However, the Rolls Royce in my opinion would definitely have to be number 7's Protect and Perfect. So there are 3 unique selling points in my opinion for this product. First is that it's got a patented lightening product in there which will help to address that kind of darkness that we all tend to get on our hands come 40s, 50s, 60s. So that's really going to help people feel better about themselves day in, day out. Now it's not bleaching, because I'm not a fan of bleaching the skin, that would be damaging the skin, but it does definitely give more of a clarity. So those age spots or liver spots as people tend to call them, which are technically called solar lentigos, so solar from the light, they're damage that we could have done anywhere from 10 to 40 years ago. So we need to feel a bit better about ourselves because, well, studies show that if you look at a line or a wrinkle, yeah, you know that someone's a little bit older. However, it's actually the overall skin tone and the brightness and the evenness and the one colour all over that will really give a younger, more youthful appearance, which is what we all tend to want on our hands, as we tend to get a little bit conscious of them getting thinner and more transparent as we get over. Secondly, the thing I like about this particular product is that it's got UVA and UVB filters and protection in there. So the thing I find scary is that we in Ireland tend to be a little bit ignorant, I suppose. We feel that because we just have the sun in the summer, we tend to not think about protecting ourselves on Christmas Day, February, October. However, any form of synthetic light, any form of natural light is still damaging our skin. So from a skin health point of view and prevention against cancer, it is vital that you have a UVA protection in your products. Hands, lips and ears are areas I'm obsessed with because we tend to not think about them, yet they are exposed all day, every day. Think about it. Driving, walking around, no matter where you are, your hands are usually always on show unless you are wearing gloves every single day of your life. So I like that it has UVA and UVB protection there, so it's protecting against future damage. No matter what age you are, that's something that is really important. And then the third thing is that it is very hydrating, but the reason why it's so hydrating above others perhaps is that it's got vitamin B5 in there, which is also known as panthenol. Phenomenal for hydrating cuticles, for locking in moisture into the hands, and almost like a protective barrier when you're walking around against the elements. So from that point of view, it's a 3-step process to really help protect, prevent and hydrate the skin. So for me, this gets a huge thumbs up. It's in a squeezy tube, which I like, because it's far more hygienic to have something squeeze out than it is to have like a big jar where you dip your big bacteria riddled nails into and then smear it on all over. So that's why I would like this. Plus 75ml, you can chuck it into your bag when you're going on planes and so on and so forth, because clearly we're always jet setting away. The thing that I'm not a fan of is that it says very clearly and quite boldly on the back is that you'll see a difference in 2 weeks. I, as a therapist, don't think we should pinpoint time on anything to do with results, simply because I don't know people's age, I don't know their environmental factors, I don't know underlying health issues, I don't know if they're actually as religious with applying it as I'd want to. What I do suggest, and what I've done with a relative that was in her 60s, that I asked her to help me figure out what our thumbs up or thumbs down were on this, was take a photo before and then take a photo about 4 weeks later of your own hand at the same time with the same light, so you can't be, you know, thinking in your head, did I doctor it, is that light dark or da 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 da, and then you'll see a huge difference between before and after. So yeah, definitely gets a thumbs up for me. It's quite a light scent, you don't need a lot, so this has lasted me 5 weeks now, and I've kind of gotten down to about here, and I'm using it between 2 people day and night throughout the day to really see how I find it.